Today's episode is going to be a short yet very informative one for all of our third-party solution providers out there, whether you're an agency, a freelancer, anything. Amazon sent an email out a few weeks ago about a solution provider portal, about how all third-party solution providers must be registered by April 10th. Again, that date is April 10th, 2025. If you are a third-party solution provider, you have to be registered in the solution provider portal. Say all that 3 times fast, or on a podcast. And you have to be in that portal to access more or one or more Seller Central accounts. So for your own, of course, that's not a problem. But if you are a solution provider, you have to be in those. So I brought in one of our experts, everyone's favorite podcast guest over the past couple of episodes from previous internal Velocity Sellers only recordings. We've got James D today to talk about it. We're going to go over everything you need to know to make sure you do not get hit with any Amazon lawsuits, because no one wants that. All right, everybody. Welcome back. Again, I brought on James D, a reoccurring guest, a fan favorite. The audience loves you. And we're going to talk more about how you as a solution provider, you as an Amazon seller, and you as any other third-party provider can benefit from this change and why it's important for you to follow these steps correctly. So, James, thank you for being on here. Thank you for walking me through this and teaching me more about it, giving us all some more information.
No problem. Thanks for having me, Pete. Yes, just when we thought things were going pretty smooth, no FBA fees or no raised fees, no nothing on that, but it does look like there is a little bit of a curveball that Amazon likes to throw at us, and it is basically going to impact any third-party seller. Okay, so any agency, any freelancer, pretty much anybody that's managing more than one or more accounts is going to have to follow a certain process in order to be able to manage those accounts. Okay. Why is Amazon doing this? Well, that's because they want to. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That's usually the answer.
Because there's nothing else to do, right? No,
Right.
they're cracking down on security and compliance measures. They're trying to improve the API monitoring as well as the data protection. So what they're doing is just putting some extra steps in to make sure, and we probably saw a lot of this as well on independent sellers doing the Informs Act, right? The federal act, they have to confirm their identity. Now this is another way for Amazon to monitor those individuals as well, those individual people managing the accounts. So yeah, so is it going to be a smooth process? Man, I hope so.
Is it ever a smooth process?
Yeah, we'll see. We do have a little bit of a window. So they're going to start implementing it, I believe, April 10th. And the actual drop dead date, the final date, is going to be August 31st, 2025.
Right. So there is a pretty big window, which is nice. They did that for a couple other things last year. I remember they changed and they said, we're going to give you some time to figure it out and kind of see how it works and make sure you're doing it right. Do we have any idea of what is going to happen to people that don't comply by then? Do you have an idea? Is it just going to be up to the cards, up to Amazon?
Yeah, so I heard
Okay.
you won't be able to even access the individual account. So what will be able
That's
to
right.
happen is, from my understanding, let's say you're a user or a third-party agency and not an employee. So when they set permissions, a lot of people probably have seen that whole permissions backend change a lot, right? There used to be global permissions, regular permissions. Now it's all looped into one. Okay. So as a brand owner, seller, central owner, and I want to add a user, I'll be able to set them up either as an employee of my organization or as a third party. And once you select third party, if that if that individual is not, let's say it's an agency, is not part of that SPP, which is Solution Provider Portal,
Right.
you will not be able to access that account. Okay, it's pretty detrimental. So,
Which is very bad. Yeah.
yeah, it's very
Which
bad.
could be
So,
very dastardly, detrimental, other bad adjectives. for you?
Yes, definitely. So I've got instructions. So I'm going to go through those instructions. So you'll at eh, you'll have to go through. So let's say you are independent, you are a third party, you're a freelancer or an agency. Even if you are already part of the SPN network, so you're a partner, you still have to go through this process. I found that out today. Okay. Yay.
Yeah. That
So
includes us. We've been an SPN provider for a while, but we
yep,
still have to do this at Velocity.
we still have to go through this process. So basically,
Yeah.
step one, go to the SPP portal, the service provider portal. If you log in using your Seller Central credentials, if you don't have one, create a new Seller Central identity. And then step two, you'll go through get started, business verification, identity verification, and you'll go through that process. Okay. Primary contact information, business owner representative, da 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 da. Then they'll book a video appointment, okay, for that individual. This is not each independent, from my understanding. I think it's one and done, but again, you might want to clarify that. Once you do have that book, that video call appointment, and you go through qualifications, then you'll go through business qualifications, okay, where you'll be able to add your business information, you'll add your service to the SPP network, complete the use case section of the service permission page, and then go through that process and click submit. Okay, it's pretty,
Mhm.
obviously this is real quick, short overview. I'm sure they're going to ask specific details. But then what will happen is it'll create a support case in your account. And that way you can keep track and communicate of the next phasing of onboarding.
Right.
Okay. And then if you are SPN preferred partner, that's when you will enable the SPN section and so forth. So it is pretty cumbersome.
Right.
I can already see people getting really frustrated.
Yep.
So
Especially if they have to open up a case
I'm
and they got
I'm
to
already
talk to
frustrated.
people.
I'm already
Yeah.
frustrated. Um, Man, I don't know, Pete. I think it's going to be a big issue. I don't know about you, but I have yet to see anything like that go real smooth. So,
Yeah. I would say I would
um,
like it to be smooth. I would like it to be just, it's simple, it's easy, at least especially for people that are already in the service provider network. But um, I'm sure, again, with Amazon and with everything else, with a company this large and with how many moving pieces are going on, I'm sure it won't just be, here you go, simple, boom, done. I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions. I'm sure there'll be a lot of error codes that you're going to get um, to
so
do the,
yeah, go.
yeah.
So sorry, totally go on. If you are having issues, okay, let's say I've hired a freelancer and that
Mhm.
freelancer isn't part of the SPP network. Um, you can always reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to help you
Yeah.
out.
There's a sales pitch. See, Jake, I didn't do it. It was James this time. No, but in all seriousness, we are more than happy to provide any sort of solutions you might need or any sort of services. But on the other end too, um, if you have difficulties with this, I'm sure there will be people out there that, if you're an agency that maybe doesn't want to come to us because we're a rival or we're a competitor or whatever, I'm sure there will be people out there monetizing on this to say, here's exactly how you do this. I'm sure there will be a bunch of LinkedIn gurus that you can check out to say this is exactly how you go through it. I'm hoping and I think that our explanation is good enough and that should be a problem. But again, we never know what errors we're going to encounter. So just be prepared for that and be prepared for some issues. There will always be some. Um, like I said, if we can get this right on the first try, super awesome. That'd be amazing. I don't somehow I don't foresee that happening. So
Yeah, and it's a real, obviously if you haven't seen the service provider network area, it's actually pretty cool. I use it all the time if I'm looking for a preferred partner in compliancy. I think that's
right,
super important.
right,
So you can really, really filter out, and these are obviously businesses that have gone through the pre-qualification that have provided services. They even have some ranking on there. I don't, and you can initiate contact straight through there. It was very similar back in the day I don't know if everybody remembers the Accelerate program
Yeah.
within Amazon for Brand Accelerate, and you can
Hmm.
select what attorney that you want and initiate contact that way. They still have that, but it works very similar to that. You initiate contact through Amazon, and then it messages that third party provider, and you go through that process. And it's supposed to expedite the process, maybe a little bit cheaper, but um, yeah, it's just one of those little quality assurances for everybody. If your name's in there, then it probably tend to be pretty solid organizations. But again, I'm sure right now everybody's scrambling right now.
Trying
Uh,
to figure out what to do. It's good to know that I didn't see in the email, at least maybe I missed that when I was reading through what they sent, but I did not see that they gave us until August. I only saw the April 10th date,
right.
um, and that's the beginning window you're saying.
Yeah, so I do have a little
Okay.
bit internal information on that.
Okay.
They're rolling it out starting April 10th, and by August 31st, secondary user access for external providers will be fully phased out. So is that the set date? No, no, absolutely not. Because Amazon, you never know. It could be April. I was hoping it was April 1st and it'd be like a April Fool's joke by Amazon, but that wasn't the
They're
case.
gonna do something. They're gonna do something. They're gonna do something on the customer facing side where the listings are upside down or they're backwards or there's something you click on something and Rufus shows up on your screen and just does like a little lap around the screen. They're gonna do something on the customer side. And if Amazon is watching, because I know they do watch this, if you're watching, you take that idea, give me some kind of credit. Put like a PS on there somewhere. Put
P.S.
Velocity
Velocity
Pete
piece.
somewhere. Velocity Pete, Pete Sims, whatever. But give me some kind of credit. That would be fun, I think. I'm always usually a big fan with April Fools coming up. I'm always a big fan of the fun little things that websites and service providers and other things like that they can do to
You gotta
keep
make it
this
fun. You gotta
make it
make it
fun.
fun. You
Make it
gotta make
fun.
it fun.
Simple as that. Simple as that. But
Yeah, you gotta make it fun now that they're all in their office 5 days a week now. So sorry,
exactly.
Amazon.
Exactly.
Sorry, y'all. Sorry,
Sorry, I
everybody.
can't relate. Cannot relate. Thank you, Velocity Sellers, being remote. No, but what more on this? Like, what are we looking at as far as the benefits? Obviously, of course, you get as a maybe as a brand trying to increase your profitability, or even as an agency looking for some service like we do, sort of for compliance. What are some of the other benefits that this change will bring about to the Amazon world? Not even just on one end, but to the entirety of the what do we call it? The ecosystem of Amazon. What do we think we're going to see additional benefits of making people be registered in this network,
Yeah,
in
I'm
this portal?
thinking I'm thinking probably this is stemming from a lot of security issues, right? So one being is, let's say you hired a freelancer, they weren't vetted properly, they still have access to your account and they're doing some bad acting in your account. That could be one of the case scenarios. I think it's just very similar how they're making it real difficult to get brand registered, real difficult to start, being able to. I'm seeing some difficulty tacking onto existing listings as well, for brands. So I think it's going to be a permission based system where everybody that's operating within Amazon has been vetted. Okay,
Right.
so they've uploaded their documentation. We go through this on a regular basis if they're in the UK, right, Pete? We go
Right.
through this.
Yeah, we have to I have to give over my, some of my my personal details to do an analysis, and it's just, do I really want them to be submitting this?
Yeah, yeah,
But you
very.
have to. That's what has to happen.
Yeah, so I would say it's very similar to, I guess, everybody when they fly, right? You can get the pass and get the Fed check or whatever it's called, and you're vetted already. So it kind of streamlines that process. How does it help the whole ecosystem? Uh, Hopefully, everybody that submits their documentation is legit and ready to go. I don't know. It's really too early to tell. I think what will happen is you'll see a lot more service providers out there in the network, right? And that way, Joe Schmo, what happens to independents though, right? Independent operators, that I could see that could be a little bit longer process So let's say you got let go, right? And you're trying to do this on a freelance level. Usually you can just add me as a user to your account and I can start,
I'll clean it
managing
up.
your
I'll
account.
do this.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen a lot. So I think
Interesting.
maybe a more of the consulting standpoint, maybe like Fiverr or was it Upwork or some people like in those instances might have a little bit more difficulty unless they're added as an employee. Okay, which I'm pretty sure would be employee domain. Um, which then again, wouldn't be that bad off. But again, I'm not too sure.
It's
We'll
early.
see. We'll
It is
see.
early. Yeah, we're only in speculation mode here. And you brought up a good point about maybe getting rid of some of these bad actors. That would be great, but what happens when these bad actors are able,
Legit.
yeah, legit, and what if there's a way around this? Like that's all the questions, and I'm sure Amazon is taking this window to maybe figure that out themselves as well. And again, I appreciate the large um, my math is off. 4-month-ish window, 4 or 5 month-ish window that they're given. And I'm sure they're doing a lot to figure out, well, if someone uploads this and they're, again, a legit business, even though they're a bad actor and they're trying to just get in there and get some bank information, what is our move
Yeah.
against that to prevent this from happening, even though they have legit information? Are they going to be vetting people? Do they need some information that somehow a bad actor wouldn't be able to obtain reasonably, or they would be able to tell if it's fake? It's very interesting to see how they're going to go about this. And like I said, it's so early; it's just all speculation right now. But I'd be very curious to see if they put something out in the middle of June and say, "Hey, new update on the service provider portal. We're gonna need you to do now this X, Y, and Z now um, to try and get something else
Yeah.
going." So, be
Yeah.
interesting to see. Be very
Yeah,
interesting to see.
I think I'm the third, definitely for the API systems. I think that's definitely a good security measure, because you're pulling Amazon data and be able to, either resell or provide a service with that individual data, whether it's reporting or anything like that, maybe like a Jungle Scout, Cobalt, or ShipStation, or anybody that's pulling the Amazon data. Of course, you want those to be, vetted third-party providers, because that way you don't have, Johnny in his underwear and in his,
Parents' basement doing
Dave Paris
something.
basement,
Yeah.
be able to write some APIs and do some
Right.
crazy stuff. But um, yeah, I was a little shocked on the third party standpoint on regards to users being able to manage the account. So hopefully those individuals will be a little bit longer on the ramp. Agencies hopefully will be able to get, a little bit longer ramp period. That August 31st date is definitely appealing, but man, you're talking large agencies, 100 plus user accounts, managing, 70, 100, Amazon accounts. That's a lot of emails to manage. You know what I mean? So we'll have to look at that and kind of see how that goes too. So
It'll be interesting, and we'll definitely have some more episodes, I'm sure, about this. You might even get a rep from the, I guess, department that's spearheading this and that's controlling it to jump on with us and talk to us more about exactly what's happening and maybe answer some more of our questions or confirm or deny some of our, I'm going to call them conspiracy theories about this. So I'd be curious to see, if they have answers to all these, or if they're just still waiting on the data to come in.
yeah, it's gonna be real interesting. I did hear some pretty good things though. Some changes in the SPN network. This is kind of hot off the press too.
Okay.
No one's told me not to share it. So,
There
and
you
I
go.
kind of heard it through the grapevine anyway. So typically we get a rep for a calendar year, right? If they qualify. Uh, Actually, this gets a little bit better. So we get a onboard specialist, basically, okay, that helps them set up the account and get established. Then it moves to a growth team member for that calendar year. And then if they qualify even further, they get an FBA specialist as well, right? So I can see a lot of these individual enhancements coming out of the program. So I'm super excited about that. Looking forward to, learning more about that. I haven't heard much from our official agency manager, but hopefully we'll get that confirmed. But that's kind of what I'm hearing in the grapevine right now. So far as I've seen it on a couple of accounts.
Interesting. You heard it here first, folks. Hopefully they don't put something out between now and our the release day of this episode.
Right.
That would be crazy. That would be a shame. So hopefully you heard it here first.
Well, it depends on how fast we get this out, right?
Right.
What's the
This will
date
be out
today?
pretty quick.
Yeah, it should
Today
be
is
out.
the 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
St.
I am
Patty's
not
Day.
Irish.
Yes. All right.
I'm not
Man, I
Irish,
should
but I
wear
like
my
cider.
green. Man.
I didn't wear any green. I'm Italian. I feel like that would be no. Okay.
Yeah, that would be.
I should have. You know what I should have done is put these lamps back here to green and just left them on green for today. I didn't think about that.
Yes. Maybe Derek.
But anyway,
we can get a little leprechaun running across the screen or something.
there was something on in the beginning. Happy St. Patrick's Day episode. Although it'll probably come out a week from today. We'll probably bump it up in the queue to get the information out there as quick as possible. So, but folks, yes, if you have, again, to emphasize, if you have any questions or if you need any help or guidance on, who should I trust? The answer is Velocity Sellers. For every question you have about who should I trust with my Amazon and with our services, I'm gonna make it a little salesy there. I did my little sales pitch. But it's going to be a very interesting time. Again, these are all just speculations. We're going to have more episodes about this when it comes out. This is pretty big in the world of managing brands. I mean, most of the big brands are managed by a third party. And so I think this is going to really shake things up, especially if it's going to be a rocky launch, a rocky start. So we'll see how it goes, and we'll keep our ear to the ground.
Ear to the floor?
Ear to the floor, something like that is a phrase. Something. You smell something? I don't know.
We'll keep our feelers out there, guys.
We're going to put our feelers out there. We're going to make sure we're keep our finger on the pulse. I know that one. And make sure we're staying up to date with this information about this big update. So, James, thank you so much for coming on to talk to us more about this, again, this really big change in the Amazon world. Again, any questions you have, please reach out to Velocity Sellers. You can reach my email, peter@velocitysellers.com, or go on our website and you can find us there. There's a contact form for you to reach out and we'll talk more about this. So, James, thank you so much. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something, and we'll stay up to date. Follow up with us for more episodes on this topic. Make sure to like and subscribe to see them when they come out so you're always up to date with the newest Amazon news. So thanks, everybody, for watching. I'm Velocity Pete, and we will see you next week.